What is up? What is up, Devoted fam? I am back for another YouTube video. It's been a while. I got kind of sick, got a little bug, and it absolutely destroyed me. But we're here now, and that's all that matters. So what we're going to discuss is setting up her altar and what is needed to set up her altar from the beginning and what do I have on my altar now. Now, I do know that this can be a very confusing part of starting with Santissima. So one of the most important things to keep in mind are the basics. The basics is where you start. So you're going to need water, you're going to need light, and you're going to need food. Offerings come later. Now, of course, you're going to need a vessel or an image or anything that is going to represent her present on this altar space. Because you never want to bring an altar up of any sort for any deity, any goddess or god without an image. Because in fact, negative energy or negative currents can claim this space as their own and build up with your devotion and your prayer and all this stuff that you're doing for them. And you're thinking it is Santissima, but in fact, it's not. Now, one of the first things you're going to want to get yourself is a table, some wall shelves, anything that you can dedicate to her, as her space. So this could be a small table, like a coffee table. Anything minimal is fine. You don't have to go all out at the very beginning. Now, in fact, if you want to, and you have the money to, I would suggest buying yourself a really beautiful big table. Like you can find some really cool tables on IKEA. I got my table that actually expands. It goes wider and it goes smaller, through your choice. And I thought to myself, well, one day I'm going to need that space. And you know what? I did. So it wasn't like one day. It was like probably like maybe a couple of weeks, couple of months later or so that I started adding more and more to my altar. Because you'll tend to add things to your altar as you grow. You don't have to do it all at once. So the table is the very first thing I would think about, or, the space and the table are actually the most critical things to think about before you even set up an altar. So once you have found the space, when picking the space, you need to think about, is this really a good space for her? Now, this would be in the consideration of, are you going to be having a lot of sex in this space? Is there going to be, or are there going to be a lot of prying eyes? Are there going to be a lot of people that don't support her or support your belief in her looking at this space? Is this space going to be disturbed or bothered by, your neighbor's kids that come over? Or do you have, a lot of stuff cluttered in that space where it's messy? You need to think about these things, because if you're going to pick her space out, you want it to be a space where it's always going to be clean. I always recommend by a window where there's sunlight, where the moonlight can come through, where you can open a window when you're doing cleansing. When you're cleaning your stuff or cleaning your statues or your space, it's really convenient to have that open window. You know what I mean? I've always set her up next to a window where there's sunlight and where there's, a clean area and where she's not going to be disturbed. Now, I know that's hard for some, because some people, they live in an apartment and they're limited on room. So, it's not to say that you can't put her just anywhere, but put her in the most appropriate space that you can think of. Now, having her in your bedroom is not a bad thing. A lot of people feel comfortable having her there with them while they're sleeping. I'm one of those people. But if you plan on having any kind of sex or doing any kind of freaky freak, then you need to make sure you get yourself one of those Japanese changing shades. They fold and expand. They sell really cool ones on IKEA's website as well. So that is another way you can, cover your area and still have her there. So you could leave it up when you sleep, or you could fold it up, or when you're about to get down and do your thing, open it up and block her from seeing you. Now, a lot of people have asked, well, what if she hears me? That's okay. Just you showing the respect that you are not doing this in front of her is okay enough. It's kind of like letting her know, I respect you. I know you know what I'm doing, and I know you know, regardless of the shade, you can still see me, but I am showing you that I am making an effort for your respect. Now, again, it goes into budget. You may not be able to afford this Japanese changing shade. So instead, you could buy yourself some really pretty silk cloth or like handkerchiefs and put them over her head, you know, each statue that you do have, of course, minding that there's no flames or anything around, and let her know that you, out of respect, are covering her up so that you can do your thing and that you mean no disrespect to her. And she will again appreciate that. So to me, there is always a way to do something, you know, whether it's, you know, bringing her offering or taking care of her. There's always a way. That doesn't have to be always something that involves spending a lot of money. This is by the choice of the devotee. Now, for the next part, you have your space, you have your, you know, area that you want to set her up in. You need to cleanse your space. Before you put anything on that altar, before you bring any statues home, cleanse your space. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that say, "Oh, I don't want to do that in my house because it's going to smoke up my house and I have allergies." Well, too bad. That's how I think of it. Just like you know, I don't drink, you know, so I can't give her anything to drink. Well, there's other types of drinks you can give her. But not to go too much off track, clean your space no matter what. And if you're one of those people that sneeze a lot or get really congested with any kind of smoke, open your windows, open your doors. That is actually what you should be doing when you're cleaning your home anyways. Because if you have your windows closed, there's nowhere for that negative energy to leave. Now, there's a lot of ways to clean your space. You can use copal, you can use frankincense. You could even go to my shop and buy my incense. I swear I'm not trying to plug my shop, but I do sell an incense for that and a spray made for that. So just to make it easier for you, if you can't get a hold of that stuff, you can go to my shop and get it. But you're going to want to spray around the corners, all the corners of your home. You're going to want to get you a cauldron, light a coal disc, and put that incense, that loose incense on the disc, and walk around your home speaking out to remove negativity and bring in positivity, and for any negative currents to be on their way. And that's why you have the door open or the windows open. So do this in every corner of the home. Even if you're not setting her up in all the other rooms, it's always good to clean the whole house. So it's kind of like canceling any possibility that anything can just go up. I don't like the way this smells or feels. I'm going to go into this other room until they're done. In other words, because spirits can be very tricky. Negative currents can as well. So now you have your table, you got your space cleaned, you've done everything you need to do so far about picking where you're going to put her and where you're going to honor her. Now the next part is getting yourself an image or an image candle or a statue or even a small idol to set her up in your space. You're going to want to make sure whatever you bring in, you cleanse it. Every little item you put on her altar, every little offering you put on her altar, you need to cleanse it, whether it's a bottle of tequila, a pack of cigarettes, a statue, an owl you bought her, a knickknack, a decoration, a candle, a pack of incense. Cleanse it, cleanse it, cleanse it, cleanse it. Please cleanse it. This will help you avoid a lot of problems in the future. Because like I said, negative energy is like a sticky syrup. It sticks to you and it doesn't go away, and it takes a lot of effort to get rid of it. So let's say you got your statue already or your image or whatever. You've already done the cleansing. Now the next step is to get yourself, the things that she needs, the basics, as we were talking about at the beginning of the video. You get yourself a glass. Don't use plastic cups. Don't use coffee mugs. Don't use cans or water bottles or anything like that. This is where you actually need to go and spend just a tiny bit of money and get her a nice glass. You could even get a glass bowl. You could get anything clear that is made of glass or something of good quality. I mean, I've had some devotee friends tell me they use crystal, which is like beyond amazing, but I mean, not everybody's gonna be able to afford that. But a glass, like a mason jar, a wine glass, a whiskey glass, something that's clear that you can see through. And the reason I say this is because not only is glass more elegant for her, but you can actually see when she is manifesting bubbles or her energy is present when you see a bunch of like Sprite looking bubbles in her glass. So that is why I recommend glass. So get you like a glass bowl, a mason jar, like I said, a wine glass, whiskey glass, whatever you want to get her. And you can go as far as, going out and getting her like a special one. But that is going to be her portal. That is going to be where, she comes through. And a lot of people think the water is just for her to drink and all this other stuff, and which, that's a cool way to look at it. But, from what I have learned, water is not just a portal for her, but a portal for all spirits, just as well as mirrors. So when you're giving her that water, you're giving her the portal to come in and out as she pleases. So you've already set up your glass. Make sure you cleanse your glass with loose incense, just like you cleanse the house. I have a video on TikTok on that if you want to check it out. Just scroll through my timeline. I know there's a lot of videos, but there is a video on cleansing your glassware, which I'll end up doing another one here later, but it's not in my roadmap as of now. But you want to cleanse your glass, make sure it's always clean. And when you change your water, we'll talk about that while we're talking about water. Make sure that you clean her glass out thoroughly. Make sure there's no calcium in it, no water residue, dried residue. Make sure I even polish it to where there's no fingerprints. That's just me. But make sure her glass is always clean, just like you would make sure your glass is clean before you drink out of it. Now, the next thing you're going to want to get her that is very, very critical and very crucial that you have this is light. Now, don't get confused that you always got to have a candle burning on her altar. That's a fire hazard. And the 7-day candles, if you're not watching them, if somebody's throwing something at you or something's happening energy-wise, they will just crack. And sometimes the wick might be too close to the glass and it gets hot and it cracks, and then you are left with a waxy mess or fire. So when using 7-day candles, I really suggest that you only have them on when you are, present in the room or present in the home. And I would snuff them, not blow them out, snuff them as soon as you're done. What I like to do is just get like a little piece of mirror or, one of my glasses, and I just sit it on top of the 7-day candle, and the flame loses oxygen and goes out. So then next, after that, you could also use tea lights. They're very temporary. They're pretty safe. Put them on a little dish with a little bit of water in them. Same thing with the 7 days. You could do that too. But tea lights they're awesome because you can use them in the moment. And then they'll last maybe 4 hours to 7 hours, depending which ones you have. Now, another form of light, my favorite form of light is LED lights or battery operated candles. You could get some rechargeable batteries, get a little energizer rechargeable battery kit, keep the batteries going by the amount that's needed for the candles, and then have a charge set for when you change them out so that you're always, having fresh batteries for these candles to stay lit. Now, another form of LED lights, you can use strips. You can get you some Govies on Amazon, some Wi-Fi Govies or Bluetooth Govies, and set up something really nice. Buy some diffuser strips, put it on top of there, and make it look amazing. Or you can get the floodlight style RGB LED lights and set them like how it is on my altar. I have a mini set on my altar, and then I have a larger set for my big standing, 7-foot statue. So, you always got to keep her in light, and you got to always keep these lights on. And why I say LED is important because, energy is not free. So if you want to always keep her lit, keep the cost down, go with LED lights. Now, just make sure when you have these lights on, they never turn off unless it's daytime. This is why I like her by the window too. I have my lights programmed to a smart plug in my wall to turn on when the sun is about to set and go down and there's going to be no light in the room. And then I have them to turn off when the sun is, already been out for maybe like 30 minutes. And this will save some energy. It'll turn them off, give them a chance to, cool down and rest or whatever, and then have them turn back on. So you're not, a forgetful person like me and ends up forgetting to turn the light on for her. So that is why I got those. That is a really good way to do that when you're starting out on altar, because you can set your lights up however you want. And that's what's really cool because you're just starting out. It was really difficult for me to find space on my altar for those lights, but I ended up doing it anyway. Now, the next thing you're going to need is food. This could be apples. This could be candy. This could be cookies. She loves sweets. So, yes, you can go to the bakery, get her the Mexican pigs, the conchitas or conchas, donuts, powdered sugar treats, anything like that. She loves it. But also, she likes to share what you enjoy as well. So there is a particular candy bar you like, or a particular type of candy or sweet that you love that you just enjoy. Put those on her plate as well. Get her like a aluminum rolling tray. Those are really good for offerings, or a round dish, like a gold dish or a clear glass dish. It's all up to you what you do as far as that. So just make sure you always have food in there that's fresh. Never leave anything rotting. If anything is rotting, you take it out immediately. So you don't ever want to leave anything rotting on her altar. Now, apples, sometimes your apples will last for months. Mine have done that before when she really likes them. My mama, for example, loves the green ones. She loves the green apples. Now, those will last forever. When I put the red apples on there, she doesn't really like those too much. They'll start getting squishy, and I don't know. I just feel like she doesn't like those as much as the green ones. Somebody had suggested to me, try the green ones. And I said, all right, I'll give it a shot. Next thing you know, I'd see the tooth marks in there and they would last forever. And I like to eat off her altar as well. You can do this as well, and it's not an offense to her. You can drink with her. You can eat with her. We'll get into that later. But if you see an apple and it looks tasty, take a bite out of it. She blessed it. She blessed it for you. She doesn't want you to waste food. Now, she's okay with it staying on her altar till it goes bad. But if you choose to eat it, just make sure that there's no mold, no nastiness around it, or there's not something next to it that molded, that touched the apple that you're about to eat, just to be safe. Now, cookies, bread, anything like that, change it out as often as you need to. You can feel it. If it feels rock hard and it looks nasty and everything, just get rid of it, because usually those things don't mold. Candy, if it's wrapped up, leave it there. I've had candy on her altar for over 2 years. So that's fine. She likes her things. She doesn't want you to take it away. Now, as far as candy that's unwrapped, if it's already gooey and nasty, change it out. Get rid of it. And when you want to also share your food with her, that is another cool thing you can do. You can make her some Spanish rice. She loves Spanish rice. She loves it. She loves it cooked and hot and put on her altar, replace it and change it out the next day. You don't have to replace it, but it could be something you do for her every so often. Or you can bring your food to her table, and you can set it on her altar for a few minutes and ask her to bless it. Just like, people pray over their food, you could do the same thing with her. And then enjoy your food with her. You don't have to make her a plate or waste food or anything if you can't, but you can as well. There's no, you can't do that or you shouldn't do that kind of thing. So hopefully I didn't miss anything, but that is what you can do for food. Always make sure she has food. It could just be some sweetbreads, a bunch of cookies, but get creative. Don't just give her a candy bar and say, well, there's her food. I mean, yeah, you wouldn't want that done to you. So kind of get creative with it. Food for her is very, very cheap. And she is very grateful for whatever you happen to give her, but do spoil her from time to time. She likes candy apples. She likes candy. She likes hot chocolate. She likes tea. She likes coffee. Make sure you do these things for her. I like to make her coffee every now and then, or make her a tea, or whenever I'm making hot chocolate, I think about her and I make her one as well. So just make sure that you are constantly thinking about her. Treat her like somebody that you love living in your house. Don't forget about her. Now, the next thing you would do after all of this has been set up and you've already gotten accustomed to praying to her and, building a relationship, it's always nice to buy her little gifts. And that is where your altar grows. It could be another statue. It could be little owl figurines, anything that you want to give her. I've heard people give her jewelry that means a lot to them, like a deceased loved one's jewelry or a Rolex or purse, crazy random things. And that is fine because that's what makes it personal for you. You don't want to look at somebody's altar and be like, okay, I need to get that. I need to add that to my altar. I mean, you can get ideas from other people's altars, but keep in mind that building your altar is a very personal experience. And if you put yourself into that altar, that's sharing a piece of you with her, and she appreciates that 100%. And you don't have to just look up things that she likes. You can share things that you like with her, because although she does want you to share her culture with you, I worded that wrong. She wants you to share cultures, pretty much. Like, she wants you to try things that she likes, and she wants to try things that you like. Most likely she's already tried them because she's, been around for a very long time. But these are things you need to think about before deciding, how do I want to build my altar? What do I want to do with it? Just keep in mind that you need to cleanse everything you put on her altar, minus food and water, of course, because it's to be kind of weird cleansing your water and cleansing your food. And a lot of people, speaking of cleansing water, a lot of people will put crystals in their water, and that's okay. As long as she's okay with it, she'll let you know. And people will wonder, okay, well, how do I know she's happy with what I offered her? How do I know she's satisfied? Well, again, you'll see those bubbles, and don't focus too much on the bubbles. Sometimes she won't do it because she uses the bubbles to let her devotees know that she's pleased. And this is for the devotees that are looking for that. Now, if you tell her, could you please make bubbles if you're happy, or could you give me a sign, she will do it. But sometimes she just won't do it. You need to let her know. And that is how that works. Now, the next thing, tequila, alcoholic drinks, cigarettes, tobacco, stuff like that. That is also very important. If you don't smoke cigarettes, still get her cigarettes, still puff it for her. You don't have to inhale, blow it on her. Cigars, whatever your choice is, just stuff that's not cheapy and like gas station-y, if that makes any sense. Like something that, think of her as a queen. Would a queen want a cigarillo from the gas station? No, she would like herself a nice cigar. And cigars, you can pay like $5 or $6 for a good one, and that will last forever. Now, if you don't smoke, you can open up that cigar, pull out the tobacco leaf, remove the filler, and put all the fillings in like a little plate. That's what I do for mine, because I don't smoke. I don't smoke tobacco, that is. So you could do that, and whenever you burn your coal disc, you can sprinkle it on there, pick up the cauldron and blow it towards her, and that is just the same as inhaling it or puffing it in your mouth if you don't want to do that. Now, for tequila, I do know there's people out there that are sober, they got sobriety, and they don't want to have any of that stuff around them, and that is 100% understandable. That is probably one of the only exceptions in my book. But you can always get her Coke. She loves Coca-Cola. She likes, margaritas. You can make her a margarita with no alcohol in it. You can always fix her coffee. She loves coffee a lot. Although tequila is one of her favorite things, and you can never go wrong with tequila. But like I said, if you're in that situation, or you're, very young, and your parents don't exactly want you having tequila available to yourself, oh no, it's just for Thisguynamedroman. I'm sure, whatever. But, you can do that. But the tobacco thing, the only substitute I could think is putting it on a plate. She has to have it. And one thing I would suggest to you is going out and buying some like Bugler, although it's not the best brand in the world, but it's, what I used to smoke when I smoked cigarettes. And you could it comes in a big tub, and you can just use that loose tobacco. Or like I said, you could dismantle a cigar, or I was going to say cigarillo, but I don't want you to do that. A cigar or something like that, and get it to, to the point to where she can have it and enjoy it without you having to gag, or, or you got kids in the house and stuff like that. Just open a window. Or ask your significant other, hey, can you take the kids out for a little bit? I'm going to do, my thing with Thisguynamedroman. Or if you don't have a significant other, then put them in the bath or something for a little bit, or a shower while you're doing this. There is no excuse to not honor her correctly. That is my opinion on it. And I get a lot of people that come to me about that, and they have all these excuses on why they can't do it, but they're wondering why their prayers are not being answered, or they don't feel her present. Is because you have to make sacrifices. And these sacrifices don't have to hurt you, because there is always a way around it to do it a different way. There's a 101 ways to give her tobacco or tequila or anything like that, or any kind of beverage. Now we're going to move on to flowers, offering her flowers and offerings and stuff like that. So when you give her roses or carnations or lilies or whatever you want to give her, the traditional thing that people do is roses, which is okay, but I like to give her carnations too. And carnations are often used around death a lot, but I think they're one of the most beautiful flowers. They come in so many different colors. They just radiate when they bloom and they blossom on her altar. There's just something about them I love. You could even mix them up with roses, but you get her roses to thank her. You don't have to keep roses on your altar all the time. I usually do, but lately I've been lacking, and I need to get her roses and flowers, because not only is it good to have roses on her altar, to thank her, but they absorb negative energy. So if somebody's eyeballing your altar, or if you make videos with her altar, roses, plants, anything like that, anything living is good to have on your altar, because you'll see them die and they'll expire, and next thing you know, you replace them with something else. But like I said, you don't always have to buy roses. Get yourself a nice low light plant to put on your altar around her, or some vining plants, or a hanging plant, a cactus, anything like that. That will not only protect your altar, but it'll protect you, against evil eye and negativity. As a practitioner, this is something that I really, really believe in. Now that we've gone over pretty much the bare basics of setting up a new altar and what she needs, we can talk about other statues that you can put on her altar. A lot of people don't mix their statue colors. Some people don't mix them. Some people will have a black altar, a red altar, or a white altar, and that's fine. Some people will do the 3 robes, red, black, and white. Some people will add all the colors of every statue they have in one space. And now all of that's fine. It's really up to you and how your connection vibrates with that. It's really you're going to know if something ain't right. You're going to know if something isn't the way it should be, and you will move them where they need to go. Now, do not, and I repeat, do not mix her with any saints, angels, other deities, other gods, goddesses. Don't do it. Now, a lot of people are like, I do it all the time and I'm fine. Well, that's cool. But from my personal experience, and like I said, I teach off of my personal experience. I don't regurgitate other people's stuff. Now, that is something that she can't stand, especially when you mix her with Hecate, if I'm saying that right. Sorry. And a lot of people have told me they've had bad experiences with that, and that's because they're both pretty much death, and there will be some fighting. I've mixed before. I've done Saint Michael, Cipriano, and she has thrown it down with both of them. Now, Saint Michael, she got along with him when I was working with him at the very, very beginning of my path, before I went to the left-hand path. And it was just like, it never failed. She was always knocking him on the floor, knocking his things over. Same thing with anybody else I put up there that I was told they work well together. Now, this can vary from devotee to devotee, but in my personal experience, I would not start off and then start mixing her with other things. Now, if you want to have another altar, or you already have an existing altar of another god or deity or goddess or whatever, you want to try and separate them in different rooms. Now, if you can't do that, a changing shade, again, is another awesome way to keep them from looking at each other. Now, if you just lack the room, like totally lack the room, then yeah, you have to keep them in a room. Give it a try. But I'm telling you right now that, just be cautious about it, because she doesn't like sharing her space with nobody. She does not like that. So pretty much that covers as much as I can cover off the top of my head right now. If you have any questions, feel free to reasonably ask them in the comments. I will try and answer them as much as possible. And I do apologize for this video taking so long to make. I got the nasty little bug. And next thing you know, I was just kind of like trying to catch up with all my clients, all my work, continue to make some TikTok videos and stuff like that. So I do apologize, but thank you for everybody that has subscribed and supported what I am doing and that follows me on TikTok as well. Thank you to all of those who go to my shop and support me through that. This is what I do for a living. I don't do anything else. I am a full-time practitioner. I am a full-time teacher, and I just run my shop and do my business here. So I really appreciate everybody that supports me. And without you guys, I would not be able to do this. And I thank every single one of you. Now, to close this out, I am going to say this. You can change your tequila, you can change your water, anything like that that's liquidy every day if you want, or you can do it every other day or every 3 days. But always check your water, check your tequila, check your coffee. Don't let coffee sit there too long because it'll start to mold. Same thing with tea. But always look inside the glass at least once a day. If you see hair, dust, dirt, bugs, anything like that in there, she has caught something and you need to change that out immediately. So no exceptions on that. So always pay attention to your altar. Make sure you at least give her a little cleaning once every week, once every 2 weeks. Play her some music. We'll talk about that in another video. And, just, tell her how much you love her, because I know sometimes it can be easy to not pay attention to her or to forget or just be like, I'm too tired. I just want to relax. Hi, Thisguynamedroman, sit down. I do that a lot. And that is fine. As long as you acknowledge her and thank her and love her, then, you're going to be golden. So hopefully this video helped those who are looking to start a new journey with her. Hopefully I helped you guys out. And again, I'll be doing another video on, the next step of, devoting. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Follow me on IG and follow me on TikTok. And y'all have a wonderful night or day. Thank you. Goodbye.